Well, so we have in the studio Kamaldeen Abdullah. He is the National Nasarawa Coordinator of the MPP, and he'll be our guest this morning for AM Talk. And thanks for joining me, sir.
Thanks.
Okay.
Good morning.
Yesterday the budget was read, and what were your impressions? I mean, just your general observations and your impressions before we go into the nitty-gritty.
Very good morning to our cherished viewers out there. And I think that a budget must instill in us some kind of hope. A budget must still instill in us some kind of assurity that indeed we are on a track or on a trajectory to getting better. Now, if you, or with the snippets of information that we got from the budget and impressions that we got from the budget, frankly speaking, I with all respect to the drafters of the budget, I don't really see the brightness of the future staring us in the face at all, completely. So for me, I'm really worried. I believe we'll be coming into it. We'll be looking at this section on a sectional basis, and then of course speaking to the matter and all that. But by and large, I would like to say that if I'm a Ghanaian today seated, as I am, like every Ghanaian, frankly speaking, we shouldn't be happy people. We shouldn't be happy people at all after getting the 2015 budget. We should not be at all, because you tell me that I'm going to do X, Y, Z. The next moment, you are not even telling me how much cost is going into it. And I'll mention those things to you. You tell me again that, yes, this place has gone better. For example, we're told agri sector has gone better. We are not even feeling it. The impact ought to be there. You see, when agri sector is better, it means self-reliance is booming. We're not seeing self-reliance. So all these things, for me, when I look at it, I just think that it is just a constitutional provision that we have come to fulfill, but not actually to put hopes.
Okay. Before we come to the notable areas and notable areas that we've noticed as far as we're concerned, we'll talk about agriculture. We'll talk about the petroleum levy, now the imposition of the additional VAT, etc. For example, in agriculture, and for which many economists and financial analysts have said should be prepped up, because we need a lot more investment in those areas. They said under the Food Security and Emergency Preparedness Program, government has invested a number of inputs into that area. We've had technical assistance given to farmers, as well as the provision of a lot more assistance in mechanized services to over 267 smallholder farmers. I mean, that is expected to improve food security as far as we're concerned, the cultivation of cassava and all that.
Now, bottom line is there the food security? That's the question. I'm asking a rhetorical question, because I know you cannot answer it for me. But is there the food security? You see, it reminds me of a former executive secretary of a UN, commission of economic commission to Africa, somewhere, in the early 90s thereabout. He was a Nigerian, one Adebayo Adedeji. He said that, look, the problem of Africa is ensuring local reliance, schemes put in place, as in ensuring that your agri-based, economy is boosted and is given the strength. Now we're talking food security. We're talking, getting food or to help ourselves and all that. And I'm saying that today, as we said, how much money do we use to import rice? How much money do we use to import tomatoes from Burkina Faso? How much money do we use to import bananas and plantain from La Côte d'Ivoire? How much money do we use to import maize? And we're talking food security. Okay? We have over-concentrated on cash crop, where we think that we'll get a foreign exchange, and after getting the foreign exchange, we'll use it to buy food. When in fact, as a country, and as people who, of course, must be sensitive or are sensitive to the plight of Ghanaians, you should have boosted the local area cultivation. Let every farmer be self-sufficient in one way or the other, and tell the farmer, look, our target is to get homegrown food for ourselves. Never should we import tomatoes. Never should we import plantain. Never should we import cassava. Never should we import maize. These are the staple foods for Ghanaians. So I am saying that if you say the agri sector is better, and I go to the market and only to find imported foods to buy, and you tell me there's food security, what are you talking to ourselves? I mean, when we do this, at the end of the day, the country is going backward and backward and backward forever. So for me, even the sector that they talk about, agri was better or has been better, frankly speaking, it's neither here nor there. It's on paper. Economic must move from GNP and GDP. We have moved there. Because realistically speaking, all of us sitting here are laymen in economists anyway. However, we are affected by decisions taken by economists to us. And I'm saying that fundamentally, those economists must ensure that they take decisions that would actually gear towards homegrown policies or homegrown, agendas in terms of agriculture. But you come and tell me you've imported tractor and you've given tractor to a local farmer who cannot even buy fuel to fuel the tractor to farm or to plow. What have you done? You've imported arbor motors and the local farmer cannot even buy premixed fuel to move to the fishing. Are you getting my point here? So all these things we are doing, I mean, it's neither here nor there. For me, honestly speaking, we are shortchanged as Ghanaians. We are not treated well by this government, and it's about time that we got up and rise solidly against this government. I'm telling you the truth, and actually let them understand that the trajectory they're towing and the way they're going with the economy is not doing very well for us at all. Completely not too good for us.
I don't know about rising and
we have to.
Rising means what?
No, by Article 21D of the Constitution of Ghana, we are told that demonstration can be.
And if you demonstrate, what will happen?
You see, we send petitions upon petitions. Let's pour ourselves on the streets. Let's let Ghanaians and government understand
that's causing mayhem.
It's not.
And disaffection.
I'm talking peaceful procession. In the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution of Ghana, they said, look, you can embark on it to push home your better demands for economic conditions. I mean, so that is just normal.
Now, to the end where we have tractors, we're told that, as far as what the term AMSEC is concerned, they have tractors, 89 of them, and then they have even shellers, maize shellers, and other implements that have been are centers that have been established in various areas, 89 of them. And so farmers go there, they take tractors, they can go and plow their farms, etc. And for the next financial year, they hope that they'll invest additional 41 extra tractors.
These are
and other
all
implements.
Gimmicks. Hold on, these are all gimmicks.
When you go to the communities where farming is taking place, smallholder farmers are doing their work, you get to find that these tractors are working, especially in northern Ghana.
I came from northern Ghana just 2 days ago, the day before yesterday. Okay, for me, I believe in what we call the rural politics. I'm a rural person. I'm a villager. That I have to tell you. So I'm always in touch with my people. As we speak now, fertilizer is not subsidized anymore in the north. Completely. The subsidy has been taken away, and farmers have to struggle so hard to get money to buy fertilizers. Now you come stand in parliament and tell us that we have put in this in place, we have done this, and we are yet to do this. And even when you even look at the budget very well, critically, all that we hear is about we are going to do this. It's not we have done this. It's about we are going to do this.
But that's what the budget is all about, projections.
Absolutely. But however, projections with realities. You see, when you make a projection, say for example, we're going to buy a phone. What plans have you put in place to ensure that this phone is going to be bought? Is what we want to see. Okay? Now you come to tell me that you're going to secure structures, you're going to secure this, and at the same time you tell us that we are faced with a challenge to getting money to do all this things. What are you telling? Whom are you deceiving? So for me, I think that, like I gave you the example, fertilizer as we sit now is not subsidized anymore. Initially it was, so that the farmers or the peasant farmers will at least can get it and then ensure that some kind of subsistence farming will be done and food security will be ensured. That is not done. Okay, now you talk of tractors. Go to our district assemblies. You see those tractors parked there. And ask me, trust me, they sit there for about a year or two and they are not on the field working. And this is a reality, it's a fact. You understand? I am telling you, go and look at, what's the name? Those shelves that they're talking about. Ask to whether they are at work is a problem. You see, we have a culture in Africa. We have self-inflicted wounds on ourselves. We go to import that thing, and the purpose of importing the particular mechanized product or machine is meant for this. Then it comes to sit there, and bureaucracy, okay, is killing us because it wouldn't even get to the field. The thing will sit there for about a year or two and never gets to work. Then yet we come to parliament and announce to people that we have secured this, meant for this, when the people in fact are not even using it for what is supposed to be done. So for me, I think that we should even go there so much.
What should be the priority as far as agriculture is concerned? Because when you take a look at a sector that seems to be the most highly employable sector in our country.
Yeah.
Though not highly skilled, and the income levels may not be high, but the sector employs a lot more
Absolutely,
people.
yeah, I agree.
And thereafter, the end product also tends to create a lot more food security and income generation in many respects. What should be the priority?
You see, the priority should be human-centered development. I think there's a single antidote to African problem. The human-centered development, is what we should do.
You're saying it's absent currently?
Absolutely. It is not absent. It's completely absent. You see, you have just identified that agriculture sector employs many in this country. Now, what have we done?
Because if you look at from the farms and through the value chain,
very well,
you get to see that.
No, I agree with that. And I'm saying that what have we done to better the lot of people who have decided that I want to go into agriculture? We've done virtually nothing. Like we rightly mentioned, you bring mechanics in and those machines are not even used for the purpose. The agriculture-based employees or people who have decided I want to be farmers, how many of them have gotten financial incentives? How many of them have been given some kind of, support, cushioned in a way, a community-based, financial institution to help them grow and then come back? And have we identified for them what kind of crops they need to grow? Today we sit here and we are talking exporting cassava because we think cassava can get starch. We have forgotten that cassava is even consumed by our people. How self-sufficient are we in consuming the little cassava that we do have before we're thinking of cash crop? Are you getting my point? So I think that all this thing boils down to what? Effective policy making. If we do not have this, and we always have it on paper and come to read to people, and practically or pragmatically we don't have it, I think I'm afraid for Ghana. It's sad. Yes. So it should be human-centered development.
If government has a priority, and the priority is smallholder farmers need to be given a lot more incentives or given the support that they need to ensure that there's efficient development in the sector. How do we balance that, rationalize that in a way that, well, all the projections we want to make, ensure that we reduce our dependency on import, rice, etc., that is going to be achieved perhaps in the medium to long term?
Well, I think that's exactly what we just talked about. We have said that, look, first of all, you should be self-sufficient before you think of even exporting, okay? Today, as we said now, like I said, rice is grossly imported in this country, and we eat imported rice. Tomatoes, same. Talk of banana, talk of pineapple, talk of whatever, all those things. We should be working towards getting it locally produced. And we don't need to even go to IMF for assistance. No, at all, we don't need that. If we are sure that food security is actually seen, economy is better. Okay, but where our focus is not on what to consume, our focus is not on what to get locally to use, our focus is rather to get something to feed the Caucasian whatever outside, then I think we'll have a problem. You are non-Caucasians and you are there. They have their caucus there and they are doing it, and you are producing again to go and give to them. So I think that, yes, to answer your question, we should, as much as possible, psych our people up. Let them understand that self-sufficiency or self-reliance is key and is the only way we can solve the problem in Ghana and, for that matter, Africa.
To add value to whatever is produced is critical, and as a result of that, well, government has the Export Development and Agricultural Fund. We also have other incentivized funds available for people to access, or even medium to small scale manufacturers to access. At the end of the day, in their daily business activities, they don't have reliable energy. And for the minister in his summary, as he read before Parliament, he talked about work expansion on TICO, which is already 90% complete, and we also have the gas project and all
the
that.
Pong-Tema plan and the gas project and all that. You see, energy sector, like I said earlier on, it's about time that Ghanaians will wake up or will rise up to the task and push the government from, embarking on rhetorics and rather come clear in terms of pragmatism. I sit here and I'm sad. I have been sleeping in darkness for the past 2 days now in my house.
You have a generator, so you shouldn't have a device.
No, it's not true. I don't even have a gen in my house, okay? Now, if I'm forced to put on a smoke, even though it's good for me, okay? Maybe that is not what I wanted to put on today. But by the fact that, or for the fact that there's no light, and I cannot even get myself prepared in terms of ironing my clothes and getting myself prepared to be productive, I am forced to do what I'm not supposed to do. Are you getting my point here? And you see, it's a clear fact, a known fact, that we sit here and up to today we are not told clear-cutly the truth behind the energy crisis in this country. I have always identified it to be what? Laxity with which we approach, or the laxity
in terms of policy,
first of all, the manpower that is behind pushing for better energy for us. That manpower must be questionable. It is questionable. I think that if you are sitting there and you are supposed to ensure the Ghanaians are actually given light and they're paying for it, and you don't do your work, what you're supposed to do or to be visited with is sack. Completely. Two, we should not countenance these excuses coming from such people almost all the time, when in fact it appears that sometimes it's even not so accurate with those excuses. And I think that this is head-on tackling of our energy sector. People sit here and talk a whole lot of English, a whole lot of explanations. Yet when you go down there, they are not even doing the work. Is either the person is on a retreat somewhere enjoying, is either the person is on, you understand, meetings upon meetings and practically doing nothing. So I am saying that it is the human power or the manpower behind the provision of energy in our country that is questionable. If until we get committed people who of course will be truthful to us, people who of course will have Ghanaians at heart to lead and give us that problem, solve that problem, we will be where we are. Leadership is the problem. We don't have leadership in terms of our energy sector.
To put it in that blanket way doesn't also adequately tend to segment what the segment is.
It does.
Now, we know that a lot more investment is being undertaken in the energy sector.
We've heard this God knows when. We've been hearing this.
And as far as we're concerned, when these investments, as they are rolling out currently, come to fruition, we're going to have consistent energy supply in the medium to long term.
Roland, how many times have we been told by the president and given deadline that this energy crisis is going to stop? How many times? Countless times. How many times have we been told by ECG, by VRA, by Gritco that this thing is going to stop at this time? It never worked. So the problem is, who is the problem? And then we keep on saying, oh, they are working on it. They are going to do this. We'll produce this. Like I said, rhetorics upon rhetorics. We haven't seen it. We were told not too long ago that, oh, we are now comfortable. We have started generating over 100 and something megawatts or whatever. Therefore, it is coming to help us to cushion the crisis that we're facing. Today, as I said now, like I told you, 2 days now after I slept in darkness in my house. And you see, it's same for many. What I'm simply saying is that Ghanaians lack leadership or effective leadership, as we said now, in various or myriad sectors in this country. That is our problem. We have no problem, but we need better leadership. That's all I think we should be doing.
To what extent can we make sure that perhaps we also need to ensure the energy mix is adequately looked at in such a way that we could have better means of sustainably establishing other means of generating energy, only by not only rely on hydro?
Let me give, I think I have mentioned
for example before. In communities, for example in Paga, we have a solar...
Exactly what I wanted to talk about. You see, I mentioned this before and I'm going to mention it again. That's why I say leadership problem. Today, is there an industry in Paga like you rightly said? No. Okay? Is there an industry somewhere China, somewhere Sandema, somewhere Bolgatanga? No. What we should be doing and concentrating on now is that domestic usage is more. And if domestic usage of electricity is more and it's not industrialized there, it means they don't need huge power. So can't you try to sectionalize it? Get this pilot, piloting of usage of solar plants for communities. Okay? Now, if we have such communities where they don't need much power, you concentrate it there on solar. Now, having gotten them using solar, then the rest of it that you do have, that where we have, say, for example, Tema, where it's industrial base, and they will need much energy and all that. Then you concentrate the energy that we get from thermal and maybe hydro, okay, there. At the end of the day, the solar takes care of, look, we have a lot of sunshine in the north, lot of sunshine. And I'm sure that any effective leadership, or leader would love to explore this particular natural resource. I think that at the end of the day, if we had a better investor in solar, to come partner with government and tell him, look, from the north going up, we want solar to work very well because industry is not so strong there. Therefore, we don't have this. You understand? Then they pilot it there or they move it there. There, we know the energy there is solar and they always will get it. Then we move on up, down south. Where we think the solar can work, say we do that. Then the rest of, or the residual power that we have in terms of our hydro and thermals will go to power for industry and other things. And we are comfortable.
You almost sound like the energy minister.
Absolutely. People will think they think I'm just sounding so simple. But of course, it's supposed to be simplistic. That is the way it should run. We sit down here and we spend just on office building alone for gas plant in Atuabo. Gas of initially budgeted for $7 million. Today we are told it's supposed to cost $144 million plus. Office building alone. Roland, that is sad. It's pathetic.
Okay, we do understand, but so your concern is that the priority is also not right.
It's not right. Okay. You see, if you are using $7 million, you can build an office edifice. $7 million. Today you are telling us that it has moved from 7 million to 144 million. That is outrageous. I mean, it's not accepted, Roland. And now we sit in the north and we need solar plant. How much will it cost to put a solar plant in Paga, in Bolgatanga, in Nasia, and other places where we don't have industries? Can't we do that? Strategic planning is what we lack. I read something about this, the Durrell Center for Leadership, and they were saying that Africa needs what we call strategic leaders. We don't have them, especially Ghana. All we know is to do the VVIP cocaine gate scandal, and we are comfortable.
No, that's all we know. No, that's not very good comment. No. But
it's a good comment.
But the talk of all this has been the imposition of on petroleum product, the 17.5% VAT, and as a result of that, the minority in Parliament had to walk out when they had to go through the consideration stage, and following that to go through the third reading and do the final approval.
Roland, I was sad yesterday when I heard the finance minister, of course, announcing that under emergency, certificate of emergency, they want to impose tax on Ghanaians again. First of all, you see, let's get this very clear. Roland, are we paying full cost for fuel or not in this country? The answer is yes, we are paying, because not too long ago, subsidies were taken away from it. That is why today when you go to the... No, they have told us, apart from premix, where we have some amount of minimal subsidy that we are told. But when you come to fuel itself now, we are paying full cost for it. Okay, and I'm saying that if, of course, something informed, we paying full for fuel. Today, what is informing again, imposition of tax on the full cost recovery that we are having. So you see, when you do this, we tend not to be sensitive to the plight of the Ghanaian people, and that's sad. Now, they argue that 17.5% is we won't feel it. Ghanaians will not feel it. What is important is that there is going to be a chunk of 17.5% on petroleum product in general. LPG is affected, premium is affected,
kerosene,
gasoline is affected, kerosene, where my rural area, my villager, where my people, what they dwell on, they are going to be taxed. These poor people who have nothing to live, they're going to be taxed.
Somebody will say that's politics.
No, it's not politics. I say I'm sad, and I'm supposed to be passionate about this thing. You see, we sit here in this country, and we have a lazy way of approaching economics. You see, imposing taxes is very lazy, very, very lazy.
You think it was easier to just?
You know why they've done this? The IMF bailout thing. You see, there are some three conditionalities that people have forgotten. When a country set off to go to IMF, first of all, you are going to lay off your public workers, in a way. Secondly, you are going to put an embargo on employing people. Thirdly, you are going to ensure that some salaries or whatever are reduced. Then, of course, you are also going to ensure that taxes are imposed on people, on social services, like health and education. These are things that you do. And these are what we call killer conditionalities. That is why when you resort to self-reliance, homegrown policies, and ensure that you are very, 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 as it were, you are very well astute, or you are very well managed, and you have confidence, and of course you instill some confidence in your people to tell them that, look, we have gotten to where we need to take up our destiny into our own hands and help ourselves. You move from the bailout. Now, this tax component, I am telling you, let it go forward. It is what is being done is that we want to satisfy the conditions of the IMF.
Okay,
and that is why this tax has come. And it's a killer tax.
Well, we have also been joined
demonstrating
on the line to help us do the discussions as well. Mahama Hudu. Mahama, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Roland.
Yeah, it's been a while.
How's the morning? And good morning to your viewers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hudu. And he's the Executive Director of the Center for Energy Research. That's the Africa Center for Energy Research. And we say thanks for joining us. Now, particularly when it comes to the issue of energy, and we'll have to start with the announcement of a percentage of 17.5% VAT that has been imposed on petroleum products, and subsequently that's already been approved. And so it's been put into law, and we're hearing that the president was ready to assent it yesterday evening. What really do you make of it in terms of the intent of the policy in itself and its ramifications on not only consumers but overall revenue generation of government or fiscal management?
Thank you very much, Roland.
Well, we seem to be having some difficulty with Mahama. Mahama Hudu is the Executive Director of the Center for Energy Research. We'll try and get him back on the line. Okay. Hello? Well,
So like I was saying, this tax must not actually be accepted by Ghanaians. Let's rise up against it. Because already, like I said, we are paying full cost recovery. What again is informing us? That is why you explain that when you go to the international market and the price is low, you cannot, because we need to pay full for the fuel. We agree. Now, what is informing this tax again? What money, the money that you are going to accrue from it, yes, you say you are going to use it for whatever. We are not told how you're going to use even that money. By a year, you are going to make over 1 million Ghana cedis out of this particular tax.
Over 100 million.
Over 100 million Ghana cedis out of this.
Over the period, over 1.5, just a little over 1.5.
Absolutely.
Up to 2015.
Absolutely. And I think that it's sad, once again, for a government that actually has not got any feeling, okay, for the people that he seeks to govern. I mean, it's sad.
See, the point
is
that because you are a politician, when you say the things, it could be misconstrued to say it's on the side of politics.
Oh, no.
But even though it could also be interspersed with a lot of objectivity and passion. But we'll get back to you. And Mr. Hudu is on the line. Mr. Hudu. Mr. Hudu. No, we don't seem to get Mr. Hudu.
Seem to have. No, I'm not speaking from...
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, Hudu.
Yeah, Roland.
Please, sorry. I'm sure that the announcement by the finance minister seemed to have been affecting the lines in many respects.
Okay.
You still remember my question?
No, I do.
Okay.
Please come.
Yes, the 17.5% VAT as imposed on petroleum products. We wanted you to, by your own observation, what would be government's own intent and rationale for that very imposition, and what it could mean for government fiscal management, and also its impact on customers or consumers, so to speak.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's obvious. The impact on the ordinary Ghanaian, the individual, and all of us is very obvious. Downstream is not very different from all that all those other taxes that we know.
Well, we seem to...
Yeah. Well, I just think that even though Hudu has not actually spoken yet, but from the way he started, you could see that no, of course, as a Ghanaian, we all would have to complain about what is happening now.
He's not complaining.
Clearly,
yet.
He's not, but he's just, maybe you ask of ramifications and all that and what is going to come of it. But I think that by and large, it is important for us to know that as a Ghanaians, please, we are overburdened already.
You mean in terms of taxes?
We are.
Is it because
we are overburdened?
Is it because perhaps you're sharing the thoughts of the critics who say government is overtaxing the already taxed?
And that's the point I'm saying, and I'm making the point I'm making, and I'm saying that, look, Ghanaians already are hard pressed. We don't have it. The people in the driver's seat, they should at least try as much as possible to, of course, empathize with us. The ordinary worker is complaining of some areas in salary he's not paid. The ordinary worker is complaining of not getting increments in his whatever input that he has actually put in terms of bettering his economy or productivity. No, he's not. He's short-changed already. He's not given. And you are overburdening him again with this. You see, what it means is that when petroleum products are taxed and the prices goes higher, of course, it trickles down to affect almost everybody. You see, my ordinary farmer who is in the village, farming and wanting to transport the produce to town to sell, would have to pay higher for transportation. That's obvious. Now, the argument is that, oh, we are just going to put 3% on petrol. Therefore, it's about 45 pesos. It's not much. That's huge. That's very huge. Okay? When you sit down and tell me we won't feel it, then if we won't feel it and it's nothing, then don't even increase it, or don't even impose any tax.
The thing is, before the last imposition or increment in the prices of petroleum products, we were told by the NPA that we needed to pay realistic prices.
That's the point I made earlier.
Then internationally, we've had a fall in crude oil prices. And so there was a reduction of only 2%.
Yeah.
And you and your colleagues, as well as the critics, said that was not enough.
Yes.
Now, we're told that we had incurred a lot of debt over the period because of, before the formal use of the automatic adjustment formula. And so we needed to clear a debt of some 400 million Ghana cedis. At the end of the day, we have to make sure that we don't burden the already state coffers that has responsibility for a lot of projections.
Therefore, you need taxes. Lazy approach, you need taxes.
Well, so by what means then can we defray whatever cost there is in making sure that we don't create a lot more costs and debt for government?
You see, our problem now is about the lack of the willpower to do what we call, excellent expenditure. You see, indiscriminate way of spending the state resources, the manner in which we throw monies about.
What's indiscriminate?
You see,
we have overpasses. We have various roads that are being undertaken, factories that are being built.
Oh, I'm happy.
An airport in Tamale.
No problem.
What is indiscriminate expenditure?
That's interesting. We sit now, 2009. We are told that our debt stock was about 9 billion cedis. Today, as we sit right now, we are talking 60-something billion dollars. Now, question is, over 50-something million that is left.
It's 69.
69 billion, okay. The over 50-something million that, of course, has come to add up to the 9 billion that we do have. What has it been used for? We're paying monies that are not even supposed. Have you followed the Jida trial? Did you follow the witness who said that he even signed a check and didn't even know what they were going to use the money for? It's pathetic. And I'm saying that this is the way we spend without measuring our expenditure and making sure that we prioritize things to put money where it's supposed to go. And that's where the problem is. We sit here, we have given huge chunks of money to companies, private companies, in the name of PPP, to go and work for us, only for them to go and then use the money anyhow. So the next moment we come.
You're saying judicious use and priority.
Judicious use. You see, the next moment we walk to court and say, oh, the money we gave to this person. You gave the money.
Right.
We want to claim the money back. So I am saying that the kind of expenditure we do is not prudent. And if it's not prudent, you are going to find yourself in the situation we have found ourselves now. It is not the Ghanaian who is supposed to pay for that recklessness you put in place. And I'm saying that if we had over 59 billion, okay? 69 billion. And I'm talking the extra one on top of the 9 billion. Let's say 60 billion. We have over 60 billion sitting at your disposal. And all you can do is to give it to companies on loans on interest-free to go and enjoy themselves in Dubai and other places.
That's just saying
and then,
it on the low side.
All you can do is to get the black market. Our foreign exchange is taken from Bank of Ghana and pushed into the black market because somebody wants to get his own money. It's the corrupt practice that is so much seen in the system that has gotten us where we have gotten to. It's not because we don't have the money. It's not because we don't have what it takes to run the economy.
Let me revert you. And the finance minister adequately said, as far as on the subheading debt management, said it is worth noting that some of the loans contracted were used to finance major infrastructure projects.
Like?
We do understand that 1 billion, of course, in the PPP management of issues and under JIDA, etc., have not been adequately managed. Well, 1 billion. 1 billion. Okay.
Over.
No, it is it is estimated 1 billion.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. But all these are massive capital expenditures and massive capital injection projects. Now, we're having Ghana National Gas processing plant, and that's going to help energy provision, refurbishment and expansion of the Ridge Hospital, and I know it's in excess of 300 million.
Absolutely.
University of Ghana Teaching Hospital, to upgrade a hospital into a teaching hospital, and that also is going to elevate the hospital in many ways as well. The expansion of the Pond Water Pumping Station, and that is almost completed.
You can go on and on, yeah.
Kwame Nkrumah Interchange. Now we have Sofo Line interchange in Kumasi because when all that were commissioned, money was not left for it to be completed. Tete Kwashi Medina Road project, you know the gang.
No, you go ahead.
Construction of affordable housing units by OAS Construction.
Are you done?
I'm okay. Relax. I don't know why you're rushing. Relax.
Yes,
Kumasi Central Market, and then we also have the Kaswa Interchange. 200 buses for the Metro Mass Transit, and additional 295 Scania buses for the Rapid Transport System. Then we let me finish. We even have Parliament House Job 600 and a number of projects that they've named here. I can't mention.
Thank you very much. You see, that's very interesting. I would have wished to take them one after the other, but for want of time. But then let's first of all take the Metro bus 200 buses.
The Metro, yes.
The Metro Mass 200 buses. As we sit here, there's a whole lot of problems. Are you aware the managing director has actually been asked to go home? You are not aware. He's supposed, because those buses that are brought were originally not for them, but rather for what? Local government ministry. Now, local government goes to secure their buses. Metro Bus says that we want buses. Originally, they have a contract with a Holland-based company who gives us robust buses. Today, these buses from China is what is supposed to come to Metro Mass. I have no qualms with that. Because of that, the managing director had to raise issues about it, and he had problems. We are not going to deal with companies that Kufuor and his people dealt with. Meanwhile, that is where we are not going to be shortchanged. We're going to get better buses. The new plan buses, they have stopped it. And they've gone to China to bring buses that cannot even ply long routes.
But we just heard that the MD has been dismissed also.
Of course, he's been dismissed. That's why the point.
Is it because of some of these things?
Some of these issues, a lot of issues. I will tell you more about Metro Mass if you want me to tell you. Now let's go to you. Again,
after the show.
Again, all these things you have mentioned, Ridge Hospital and whatever. The question is, putting all together, is it up to the $60 billion that we have added into our debt stock? No, it's not. So where is the money? The remnant of the money, where is it? We want government to come clean. Tell us that we have spent this money on this. Tamale Airport, as we're talking now, there is not a single block laid there.
When was the last time you passed
there? The day before yesterday, I was at Tamale Airport. I came from Tamale, I told you. Okay? And I'm telling you, there's not a single block.
Are you sure you didn't use the road?
Laid, no, I came by air. I came by Amtrak Air. And I've always used the airport.
Flight.
Nothing is there. The circle you are talking about is sitting here. We are told that it is not government of Ghana that is what funding it. We are told it's by grant from Brazil and other, commitments from government of Ghana.
It was approved in Parliament.
Absolutely, it was. But Brazil is assisting it. That money is coming from Brazil, isn't it? We're told. Now, if all is part of this, I am saying that, listen, I am saying that, you see, we have had a lot as a government. How much have we used is question. How much have we used is a problem. So please, at the end of the day, let's do prudent expenditure. Let's do judicious expenditure. And this would assist us. But this ostentatious way of living by government and spending money where it's not supposed to be spent, that when we are told that money is paid when it's not supposed to be paid, at the end of the day, is what is causing the problem. We are not being, prudent enough and judicious enough in terms of handling our state resources. And that's where the problem is. So all these things are just issues you mentioned you are here to do. Now again, you mentioned in the budget that you are going to put up 123 secondary schools.
Oh, we'll come to it.
Initially, we'll come to that. Relax. Very well.
We'll have to take a break. When we come back, Spencer Quay, and he will be joining us. And George Spencer Quay is also a communication person for government. And we will be inviting him into the studio to help us do the discussions as well.